Hola, muy buenos días a todos y gracias por acompañarnos en este tercer y último día de esta primera edición de Expofibra, la electricidad del siglo XXI. De nuevo les damos la más calurosa bienvenida. Hoy tendremos en la agenda 6 diferentes actividades que tocarán temas como conferencias magistrales que exponen cómo 2 personas han volcado su pasión de telecomunicaciones a conectar zonas rurales. Tendremos una conferencia de modelos alternativos para construir redes con blockchain, tema de auge muy últimamente. Aprenderemos si el span es realmente un parámetro válido en un cable de fibra óptica. Contaremos con un taller realmente espectacular a cargo de Jerry Morlá, en donde nos explicará con lujo de detalles cómo funciona esta increíble tecnología. Y finalmente cerraremos con una mesa redonda llamada Pregúntale a los expertos, en donde todos ustedes podrán plantear sus preguntas e inquietudes acerca de este gran mundo de las telecomunicaciones. Y ahora, primero, pasaremos a la conferencia magistral llamada La infraestructura que nos une a todos. Neil hablará acerca de cómo la fibra óptica y la conectividad de banda ancha pueden crear la capacidad para que las personas que viven en diferentes partes del mundo en zonas rurales se unan en torno a sus ideas y talentos. También compartirá con nosotros un caso de éxito y la visión completa del mismo, así como diversas formas en que todos podríamos replicar lo que él mismo ya está construyendo en comunidades de todo el mundo. Esto estará a cargo de Neil Mylet, fundador de RuralUrban, Leopoldo Rodríguez, CEO de Helgen Technologies, y tendremos la participación activa de José Manuel Enríquez, CEO y fundador de TFO. Adelante, muchachos.
Gracias, Andre, y un gusto teneros aquí a Leo y Neil. Si pueden ajustar su cámara un poquito, se ve la mitad de Leo, al revés, un poquito más, un poquitito más. Ahí está. Bienvenidos, and this is going to be a Spanglish conversation, I think, because that's the way it's going to flow. And Neil, I'm really happy to see that you are there hanging out with Dr. Leopoldo Rodríguez, un mexicano que está en Irlanda. Él hace tecnología de primer nivel con robótica, con el Internet de las Cosas. So Neil, welcome. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you and then pass it on to Leo to tell us a little bit about him.
Sounds good. It's great to be with everybody today. I'm Neil. We have a farm in Indiana where connectivity has always been a challenge. The first YouTube video I made actually got around 2 million views, but I had to drive 45 minutes to a Starbucks to upload it to the internet. So connectivity has always been something that I'm really passionate about because we didn't have it to any extent. And it's really pivotal to giving people a chance to compete in the 21st century. So.
Yeah, thank you. Hola a todos, encantado de estar aquí, un poco impromptu, pero pues creo que a muy buen tiempo llegué a esta sala. Yo soy el fundador de Helgen Technologies, es una compañía enfocada en robótica y el Internet de las Cosas aquí en Irlanda. Ahorita estamos trabajando principalmente en el tema de smart boards, donde pues obviamente la conectividad es esencial para proyectos de automatización y digitalización a gran escala. Y también pues estamos en una colaboración con Neil para un proyecto de Internet de las Cosas para la parte de descarga de grano dentro de su comunidad, dentro de su granja y su comunidad. Entonces, pues un gusto estar aquí con todos ustedes.
Genial. Thank you. Gracias, Neil. I think you know a little bit of Spanish by now. And let's start with you, Neil, telling us a little bit. I think it's fascinating what you're doing. You brought fiber through partners to your community, which is a community with less than 700 people. Neil vive en una comunidad de menos de 700 personas en Indiana, en una granja, en un rancho. And tell us a little bit about the impact of how you are connecting your local citizens to the world, because I know that you have had people from Ireland, from Mexico, from Nigeria, you have gone to Afghanistan, you have gone to China. So tell us a little bit about the impact that this broadband is bringing to your community, the effect that it's having.
Well, it really just creates, it's like a highway to opportunity for people, because the more they can have access to the internet, the more they can not only learn about things they're passionate about, but learn about aspects of the world that they never really knew existed. And I think that's why it's so pivotal that we give connectivity a lot of focus, not just how we bring connectivity, but how we utilize connectivity. So yeah, we ran fiber to our Opera House, which we're converting into what will become the largest tech and cultural hub in all of rural America. It's over 20,000 square feet, and really going to turn it into a center for learning and for education, cultural exchange, just a modern community center for all practical purposes. But through this project, we're also building out data capacity to also power a 5G farm we're building, essentially a place for research and development of new technologies as it pertains to smart agriculture. And all this kind of ties together in terms of the educational mission, because the objective is to give more opportunities for kids, for internships, for exchange programs, and all the great things that come along with those initiatives. So.
Well, I think that's brilliant, and I think I love the fact that, and I think we can use, and this is, a lot of people from Latin America will be watching this, and I think it's fascinating and something that we can definitely learn from you and incorporate some of these ideas and collaborate with you, just like you do with other regions of the world, in terms of creating best practices to feed the people, because at the end of the day, that's what you do. You help feed the world.
Yep.
And Leo, tell us, si quieres en español, a little bit about, like how you are collaborating with Neil, broad terms, doesn't have to be specific.
Claro, bueno, para poner un poco más en contexto, nuestra empresa aquí en Irlanda, Helgen, está en un tech hub que pues es considerado rural. Estamos en una comunidad de, bueno, en la comunidad donde está el tech hub hay cientos de personas, no es una comunidad muy grande. El pueblo más cercano tiene 10,000 personas, está a unos 20 minutos de aquí. O sea, son comunidades muy pequeñas, pero pues, o sea, llegar a este lugar es como si vas por la carretera donde no hay absolutamente nada, solo granjas y campos, y de pronto como si una nave espacial hubiera aterrizado, pues es un hub muy grande. Entonces, Neil quiere replicar este modelo de hub donde pues varias empresas tecnológicas están creando tecnología de punta en este lugar. Lo quiere replicar en Indiana, y fue así como nosotros llegamos a conocernos a través de la gente que hace networking dentro del centro que se llama RDI Hub. Bueno, y pues ya hablando, me expuso un problema sobre la seguridad y en sí lo que implica la descarga de grano desde un silo hacia un camión, y pues él tiene unas patentes al respecto y dijo que ¿crees que podamos comercializar esto? Revisamos las patentes, revisamos un montón de cosas, tecnología, estado del arte, tal. Dijimos, sí, se puede. Y pues ahorita estamos creando un producto ya comercial para asegurar que la descarga de grano sea segura. Eso implica, pues, obviamente, sensores, actuadores, etcétera, etcétera, pero desde el punto de vista de conectividad, pues obviamente Neil está trayendo y hablará de esto en un momento, de red 5G prácticamente a un lado de la granja. Y pues eso resulta esencial para un proyecto de IoT, sobre todo en un lugar donde pues no hay gente, ¿no? La granja en Nil es muy grande y how far is your nearest neighbor?
A mile.
Sí, o sea, su vecino más cercano está como a 1 milla de distancia, entonces pues es un reto estar o sea, el acceso a internet, que pues para mucha gente resulta algo convencional. Y pues nosotros al hacer esta implementación, pues obviamente necesitamos conectividad, pero no solo el internet, sino la red celular, o sea, todo es un rollo ahí que no hay. Entonces, pues eso es lo que, o sea, el proyecto en sí es pero es un proyecto de IoT, pero las implicaciones son enormes porque pues hay que desarrollar infraestructura y todo eso. Entonces, pues ahorita Neil hablará de los retos que ha tenido sobre la infraestructura.
Well, first of all, I'm jealous of you, Neil, because I wish my closest neighbor was a mile away. Me hubiera gustado tener a mis vecinos a 1 milla, a 1,5 kilómetros de distancia, al más cercano. But as long as you have fiber, I think that's great. You know, like that's the thing. After the pandemic, many people, and yesterday and the day before, in the different panels that we had, that came up. When you have access to fiber broadband, doesn't matter, you know, I think many people nowadays are moving out of the cities as long as they have connectivity. That's part of like the selection process. If you have broadband, fiber broadband, then you can live anywhere. Look at us right now, that you guys are in Ireland. Andrea is in Spain. Mike is in Torreon. I'm here in Puebla. We have Telma in Miami and so forth. So I think that's the power. This is part of what we're trying to show, the power of connectivity. And I know that Neil is really passionate about that. And taking what, you know, from what Leo said, dándole vuelta a lo que Leo dijo de redes 5G en una granja, que típicamente no pensarías que tiene que ver 5G con una granja. Neil, tell us a little bit about the stuff that the research that you're doing really in your farm, playing with, you know, 5G technologies, IoT.
Right. Well, so, as part of the Opera House, basically, we're able to transmit that data out to our farm, which is about 4 miles away, wirelessly. So we're not 100% fiber, but we're leveraging the fiber infrastructure to drive value for the other aspects. Yeah, we're able to do some experimentation and figure out, hey, what are some solutions we can build that will bring value to the farming community? So things like IoT, things like making grain loading safer and more efficient is one example. Another example is we're building a new combine from the ground up that will essentially allow you to use one machine to both plant and harvest the crop. That's a massive project from our farm, dozens of patents. And I'm opening this up to other people as well. People who have startup companies or projects that are smaller than ours. We're setting aside land for them to be able to deploy their sensor or deploy another innovation they've developed, leveraging the infrastructure that we've built in hopes that it just brings people together around innovation, around new ideas, and makes the journey a little bit kind of more friendly for all of us. Being a startup founder in rural America is incredibly lonely, and it's not always easy to try to get through it yourself. So the more we can build global collaborations and global friendships and unity around the fact we all want to help each other succeed, I think the more we're going to get accomplished. And that's what gives me so much hope, for why we're doing all this.
That's great. Actually, we had a, Professor Dr. Gallardo, and we had a chat with him yesterday. And part of
good friend of mine.
He's great. He was amazing. I think he is amazing, and I think part of the solution, when we're talking about connectivity, it's not just connect people for connection, for connecting them for connection's sake, but really empowering them with the right tools and knowledge and sharing. That's at the end, that's really what the internet was invented for, to to share knowledge between universities. So, Leo, te paso la palabra para que elabores un poquito en español de lo que nos dijo Neil.
Sí, es muy fácil dar por sentado el acceso a Internet, sobre todo pues en comunidades urbanas. Ahorita ya es algo muy cotidiano, pero pues yo visité la comunidad de Nil recientemente y pues sí, desde el punto de vista tecnológico, o sea, el hecho de que pues me quería conectar a la oficina en un internet de 5 megabits ahí dentro de la granja y todo, y pues eso fue una locura. No se pueden hacer videollamadas. O sea, es muy fácil dar por sentado que eso existe, pero realmente pues hay un montón de lugares donde todavía hay una brecha sobre el acceso a conectividad. Y parte de lo que está haciendo NIL es que pues el establecer la infraestructura para pues para poder dar acceso a conectividad a gente que no lo tiene habitualmente, pues también genera un espíritu de innovación. Y es por eso que estamos ahí nosotros también dentro de parte de esta comunidad, ¿no? O sea, nosotros entramos primero a trabajar con NIL porque pues queremos demostrar que el hecho de invertir en este tipo de tecnologías en comunidades urbanas trae valor añadido, además del hecho de pues dar acceso a Internet. O sea, no es nomás para que la gente pueda hacer su streaming de video y a una velocidad normal, sino que realmente puede dar un valor añadido a la actividad laboral dentro de la comunidad, que es lo que pues se busca. Y pues estamos tratando de innovar, obviamente pues falta mucho y no, o sea, la comunidad de NIL es una de miles en Estados Unidos y una de millones en el mundo, pero bueno, o sea, queremos pues predicar con el ejemplo y pues demostrar sobre todo a gente que invierte en infraestructura, gobiernos, bancos de desarrollo, etcétera, etcétera, que pues realmente el hecho de invertir en una antena en una comunidad en la mitad de la nada, no, o en el despliegue de fibra óptica por lugar donde no te imaginas que pase nadie, realmente puede añadir valor desde el punto de vista de desarrollo. Entonces, pues eso es en lo que está apostando NIL y pues nosotros obviamente pues estamos muy contentos de ser partícipes de esto, ¿no?
Genial, no, muchas gracias, Leo. Y going back to you, Neil, and again, I love the Spanglish version of this chat because I think that's, shows how we work in the real world.
Yeah.
And and going back to you, Neil, let's talk a little bit about all these connections that you're making globally, how you have collaborated with people across the world and the interactions and what have you learned, what have you shared, how is this enriching, the global community in what you do?
Well, it's I've been on like a 2-week road trip all across Europe. So I'm very tired. I want to be very upfront about that, but I've been so just really surprised, that there's, you go all over the world, everybody's the same, they're different, but they're the same. And I think the more we can showcase that to people, especially in my community in small towns across rural America, the more we can truly build relationships that matter. If we can articulate to folks that we all have the same goals for life for the most part, we all value family, friends, our individual cultures, but we can come together and use our strengths to help people all over the world with their goals and aspirations. That's ultimately, I think, the promise that going all these places really provides, is that initial process of building friendships and knocking down traditional barriers where people feel like they don't have anything in common with somebody when they've never truly met somebody from that part of the world. So I'm really passionate about bringing people together around innovation, around technology, around cultural exchange. And I think the more we can do that, hopefully the more we can make tech hubs like the one I'm sitting here with Leo in Ireland right now, and the one I'm building in Indiana, truly deliver more value to the communities if we can get folks coming together. And a kid from Indiana working with somebody from Ireland or from Prague or from Brussels on a startup project or something of that nature is the long-term goal we have. But to get there, we've got to get people talking and understanding more about each other before we can bring forth business opportunities to the table. So.
Un poco complementando lo que dice Neil, o sea, para alguien como Neil, establecer todas estas relaciones no hubiese sido posible sin el intento de desarrollo de toda la infraestructura de conectividad que está haciendo. O sea, para nosotros sería un balazo en el pie intentar trabajar en un lugar donde no hay conectividad esencial para hacerlo. No porque no queramos hacerlo, sino porque realmente eso hay limitantes tecnológicas enormes si no tenemos acceso básico a Internet. Y sobre todo en aplicaciones en las que se necesita almacenamiento en nube, un montón de cosas que pues uno da por sentado que existen y es como pues al final todo este esfuerzo de desarrollo de infraestructura, conectividad, de Internet, digamos que decente para una comunidad en sí, pues desencadena en establecer relaciones para la misma comunidad y en hacer un impulso económico al área, que es algo que pues yo siento que muchas comunidades rurales en Latinoamérica pueden beneficiarse de este modelo.
No, 100% de acuerdo. Y agregando a ello, creo que de repente no hay conciencia de que siempre se ve a zonas rurales como que obviamente los operadores tradicionales se enfocan en las grandes urbes y no ven su modelo de negocio, de repente no les permite atender estos mercados y es un reto llevar conectividad y no ven el valor de atender a estas comunidades que son las que nos alimentan, ¿no? So Neil, basically what I'm trying to get at is that I think and it's a question actually, but it's a challenge for you guys in rural communities that while you're feeding the world, nobody wants to put money to connect you with fiber broadband. So tell us a little bit about, the challenges that you have faced and how you have dealt with them to be able to get fiber all the way to your community.
Yeah, it's not been easy, these small communities don't have a lot of political influence, because when you have 500 people live in your town and there's 8 million people that live in the state, for example, where I live, overall, it's like we're just a small percentage of the population. So the political route for me hasn't really done anything, not that I wanted to, but we've applied for grants, we've tried to get some grant money. And I think the system is flawed, quite frankly. The grant processes are very structured on 50,000 and below, but they're really looking for people who have right at that 50,000, household or population density threshold. I personally feel like it should be, action-based. If you start a community project and you're willing to put your own cash into it, like I've done, you should be rewarded for that, not just the potential of filing grants and other sorts of applications. But more of the story is I've invested a significant amount of my own capital to build out this infrastructure so far and taken on that risk myself. But when you have 15 or 16-year-old kids like I have, who were giving them literally their first job, and you realize the impact it's having on them, the cost of doing nothing and waiting for the traditional systems to pan out simply aren't an option. So I think that's what makes us special where we come from. People who live on farms and grow up working hard. There's no room to just complain. You have to execute. You have to go get work done and kind of figure it out as you go. But I want to be very upfront. I understand that can be difficult for some people. You know, I have a pretty significant farm, and I have friends all over the world and have a lot of connections, and it's still been hard for me. So I can't imagine how difficult it is for somebody who just comes from a small town, has the goals and aspirations to bring change, but has no capital behind them or no influence. So really the last 2 years for me, I've been trying to do this as if I was just a normal person from a small town. And I honestly got to the point where I was so frustrated. I'm like, you know what? We're going to flip on the afterburners and we're going to like step this into high gear. In the process, trying to document and create a plan for how we can truly spearhead change and influence this for other communities. Because an analogy I use quite a bit is in Indiana, every small town has a basketball gym, but every small town doesn't have an innovation hub, really a depot, a train station, in essence, to the 21st century economy. And we all are deserving of that. And, you know, on my tech hub, I'll probably spend $2 million to build it up to what it needs to become. But if you look at the economic ROI of that over 50 years, or even 100 years, that facility will be functional. It doesn't take a lot of success stories or a lot of jobs that we create to really make that investment totally worthwhile. So yeah, the challenges of building infrastructure are real, but I think the more we can work together, bring people together around the true reason we want to build infrastructure, the more we can get accomplished. But it takes work. It takes time, and it takes a lot of perseverance. So we just got to help encourage others to maintain their vision, regardless of what they're up against, and go from there.
Creo que también algo que ha sido estratégico, so I believe that somebody has been strategic, is the alliances that you have formed with other companies. Neil ha estado trabajando con varias compañías como la mía, que están también haciendo innovación en el tema de conectividad, y eso ha sido clave para también lograr un poco la infraestructura. You can probably just quickly say about the work with Althea.
Oh yeah, so one of the partners is Althea, Deborah. I think you'll hear from her if you haven't already. An amazing female founder who's really spearheading, you know, internet connectivity with blockchain. You know, she's just one of our partners. We've worked with Radwin in Israel. They've been a good partner of ours. Purdue University has been a good partner through Roberto, who you all heard from yesterday. We've got some really great friends. And again, without them, I mean, I guess unless I want to spend more of my money, we would have not gotten to where we have been.
Sí, pero al final pues sigue siendo un tema de acceso a capital y también de hacer un poco de lobbying político, porque pues eso es lo que pues ha desencadenado en eso, y si no tienes pues la palanca para hacer toda la parte del lobbying político, pues sí es un poco complicado. Pero pues al final alguien tiene que empezar, y pues es bueno ser pioneros en esto, ¿no?
Claro. Hey guys, we have literally 30 seconds each to give a final thought. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but this is just the startup of something else. We're going to do this. We're going to take this to you know, like a one-day workshop to talk about smart farming globally with solutions and Helgen and everybody else. So just one final thought from each one of you, please, en español y en inglés, doesn't matter.
Ok, bueno, pues sigue siendo un reto la conectividad, sobre todo para proyectos de infraestructura que realmente tengan un impacto, pero pues los invito a que revisen las redes sociales, nos sigan ahí donde vamos a estar pues describiendo parte de este trabajo que estamos haciendo. Y si alguien quiere contactarme, pues bueno, me aseguraré de que José tenga mis datos, pues los pueda pasar a la comunidad, y pues un gusto de estar aquí. Bien.
I think it's more than just about the internet. It's about what the internet can do, what it embodies, what it represents for people's dreams and aspirations. And the more we can support people and meet them where they are, that's how we're going to truly, I think, use the internet to bring our communities and our world together. so we can truly accomplish great things. And it's going to take time, though. It's going to take time and patience. So I think that's what we have to focus on. It's just one day at a time.
Thank you very much, guys, and go have a Guinness. It's late for you guys.
Yeah,
And Andre,
definitely.
I pass it on to Andre.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
Estás en mute, Andre.
Gajes del oficio. Ok, estamos de vuelta. Estaba diciendo que, bueno, increíble cómo Neil logró iniciar su primer video de YouTube trasladándose 45 minutos desde su granja hasta un Starbucks para poder tener esa conectividad y llevar el conocimiento y la información de su proyecto al resto del mundo. Y bueno, como dijo Leopoldo, la verdad es que hoy en día es muy fácil dar por sentado tener internet en zonas urbanas. El tener acceso básico a internet, a la nube y a otras herramientas tan esenciales es como tener electricidad, que al final pues es como hemos llamado esta Expofibra, la electricidad del siglo XXI. Y ya la verdad es que ni pensamos en eso, ni siquiera pensamos en no tener internet. Pero las comunidades rurales, desde el punto de vista tecnológico, pues para ellas es un verdadero reto. Y Neil ha logrado ir avanzando en este ambicioso proyecto con su propio dinero, haciendo un verdadero aporte, un increíble aporte y un cambio a su comunidad y con miras a hacerlo en otras comunidades. Y su idea es atraer más y más personas que tengan esa misma visión y comunicar las zonas rurales y disminuir esa brecha digital. Me voy con esas ideas, increíble la verdad, Neil, muchísimas gracias y a Leo también por haber participado y ya regresamos en un momento.